got ourselves 5v5 1v1 Duels with Barrow win over the team 1. On the team, we got Chill Pills leading the charge for the team, putting together the Killers of Diabolical. Oh, not a gnome? That is so weird. We got ourselves Light Messiah, Jody Beckett, as well as Psycho. Got himself Eyes, scouting to see if there's a rogue nearby. But instead of a rogue, it's just Hunter with Shaman going to be first on the approach. In the back, we got ourselves Conan Seawarks over on a war. Over in the free set, we got ourselves Bones of Steel with Chicago waiting their turn. Gonna be an opener by Chill Pills as he's trying to surround Shat Hunt with the army of the undead, but he's also doing the same with the pets. It's gonna be Basilisk joining in as well. It's gonna be Shat Hunt dropping in a trap, but man actually doesn't got much help to work with. This is gonna be Big Execute right now. Chill Pills just looking to take him out fairly quickly, clawing into the man's soul, ripping it out of his body to claim later on, just using that as a harvest for his own weapon. Gonna be Conan jumping back in with the Reflect immediately as the whole army of the undead is still in play, still getting quite a bit of value. Chill Pills them is kind of down on cooldowns for a good bit, unless you actually defensively too. I didn't realize he spent even an IBF into the Hunter, but he's trying to be, I guess, pretty proactive with these things. The faster you use some of your defensive cooldowns, the faster you're going to be able to get him back in for the next competitor. Conan buying himself a bit of time. Grip as a charge comes out simultaneously. Going to be a zombie popping in on the side. Going to be Chill Pills playing into the bargain build instead of the necromantic bargain, putting a dot onto Conan, summoning up and Mages of the Dead. So it's actually going to be able to use the Apocalypse ability far more often for the bursty element rather than for the summoning element of it. Stun onto Conan, does go for a big defensive shield, might actually want to back up out of the chain of ice. It's going to be your best friend. Conan does catch a quick intervene towards Chill Pills, stuns him, does go into defensive stance, trying to see if he can maximize his self-healing while also reducing the damage he's taking. Chill Pills summoning up yet another Mages of the Dead, summon up a fresh new ghoul, gonna go for an interrupt versus Conan just to make sure nothing important is spell reflected back, as the Death that is taking quite a bit of damage though. Got himself the Swarm, plenty of shadow damage building up, disarm for just a second, still able to spam out death goals over at Conan as he does go in for a shockwave. Might actually have Chill Pills in an execute range, but that's going to be Conan also in the execute range, trying to see if he can survive it. Conan doesn't really have much to work with. What is a death goal at the end? Honestly, I did not think that was going to be a big finisher kill at the very end there. But that's exactly what we got. Double ambush on the Chill Pills. Immediate blind as he throws the sleet into the rogue's eyes, trying to see if he can buy himself a little bit of a breather as a rogue, encapsulated by the undead. It looks like he's just going to end up focusing down for a little bit, trying to get him snapped onto Chill Pills. Almost avoids it entirely. IBF, it's going to be Cloak of Shadows immediately by the rogue. Stun goes through either way though, doesn't even matter. Gonna be that IBF holding on strong as he's going to go for a killing spree, trying to see if he can maybe blast out just enough damage into Chill Pills to keep the pressure rolling. Pistol shots are breaking past the armor, actually just drilling holes into Chill Pills, just turning the man into Swiss cheese with those gunshots. It's going to be an ambush at the very end as the rogue does end up capitalizing and getting himself a quick little win versus Chill Pills. The Outlaw rogue with the physical damage does end up puncturing past the Death Knights fairly well. This is going to be Bones catching himself almost a reset. But instead, blessing and protection out of Light Messiah. What is going on here? The man did not want to get, I guess he just doesn't have a trinket, does he? I guess a sap, he wanted to probably use a big immunity, but Bones is still able to avoid him. Does he have any more diseases rolling on him? No, able to go in for an ambush immediately onto Light. Got himself a slice and dice rolling as it's going to be a big burst out of Light. Not playing the Crusade build, but every single minute is going to be fairly deadly. Not the biggest nuke you could ever have with the Crusade playstyle, but the normal plain wings, the Avenging Wrath wings, they're just as effective, and then even more effective against certain other classes. And I think against a rogue, who actually might be pretty good, just because like as long as you don't have a class that has a big 2-minute cooldown that can just hard counter those wings, which is not a lot of classes, but a handful of them do. Rogue does have those big immunity abilities. In fact, Cloak of Shadows together with a disarm, potentially invasion, vanish as well, can always bail out of him. So for Light Messiah, having wings, more uptime, more usage of him will actually end up kind of trading cooldowns with the rogue, and hopefully we'll end up helping him squeak out a victory. Shield of Evidence is up, stun onto the rogue really quick, vanish to follow, does end up diving away. is a slow on the rogue, is going to be also Sporklow activating. Shield of Ventus does get the rogue out last second. Kid shot is going to be a human racial out of Light Messiah, trying to see if he can get himself a little bit more survivability here. Final wreck right now to the rogue. Cloaker Shadows is up, giving him a little bit of that survivability. Bones still needs someone right now to live this. Light Messiah also needs the stun to lock down the rogue. Massive grapple hook, able to bail out of the big hammers flying in. Bones needs someone right now, otherwise it's going to be cheat death. There goes the cheat death. The man does not have much to really work with here. Standing in Consecration, hammers attacking him, able to get swings though of auto attacks through the wall into Light Messiah with crippling poison, slowing him down. Stun is going to lock him down, smashing the rogue's head open, and it's going to be Chicago charging up next. The rogue tried his very, very best. At that point, I don't even know what you could have done. You do have Dance coming back up, so maybe could have went Dance cheap shot with a gouge off of that. Maybe, but it was just a rough one. Chicago charging out. Light Messiah is still holding on to a bubble, so he's got himself a big immunity, so he might be able to maintain himself either way, though. Chicago sending out the wolves. I do find it weird that Chicago's not a Draenei anymore. I mean, Oracle is good, don't get me wrong, but I do miss that Draenei. Into a blind onto Chicago. Does going for the second blind. Next few attacks to Chicago, just gonna miss instead. Even if you do miss, Burrow to follow. At least he's able to hide away from those wings. That's a lot of damage altogether. Big Thunder, but it's going to be bubble out of the Paladin. Looking to end Chicago right now. Wall, maybe. Is it going to be enough? Chicago may need even more defenses. That's going to be the Spore Cloak activating, granting him a bit of a shield just for that sake of survivability. Light Messiah kind of low on health. Needs a Lay on Hands right now, but I think it's over. I think the last of bunches have him. Wrangle him back. Wait, Lay on Hands, do you have it? Trying to catch up a little bit of healing. Does he use? No, it looks like Forbearance was on him for a little bit longer. Lay on Hands would have been amazing just there. And it's gonna be Barwin up next. Is he giving Chicago a bit of an honor duel? Sort of, kind? No, instead actually activating full cooldown. Chicago is at least aware that Zuen is active. There is full cooldowns on a Barwin as well. If you can somehow avoid this monkey, it will be golden, but that's going to be Alexi blocking him down. Full burst right there with a Fist of Fury. Looking to go for a big kick. Disarm instead. Chicago just needs to play this super passively. They do have Guardian coming back up, so you want to maximize damage and self-healing during that Guardian to hopefully give you a little bit of that survivability. Big, what is that kick? Hold on a second. I haven't seen that PvP talent used at all. Mad damage onto the monk. Does he even survive this? It's going to be huge damage by Chicago with a lightning lassos. Barwin got nothing left. Is this going to be one? Oh my god, the zap. Oh my goodness. Just turning around on the guy out of left field. With Saikoru going to be up next. Looks like trying to give Chicago a bit of an honor duel, and Chicago's going to take it. Oh, never mind. Saikoru, he's kind of like charging at Chicago. It looked like he was walking in Chicago to give him honor duels. Chicago rushed out, so Saikoru probably thought, oh, we're going? Chicago probably wanted to combine just to give him a bow as fast as possible. Next time, approach him slowly, because you never really know what they're thinking. Chicago might be in a bit of trouble here. Sunder does not connect. Demon chasing after Saikoro, able to explode at any moment. Gonna be a stun onto Chicago. Does pre-wall this damage. Still has Guardian for a little bit longer. At least should be able to trap up Saikoro in that totem together with the root totem on top of it. Saikoro can't really reconnect. Chicago trying to burn some heals, but doesn't have the Maelstrom for it. Has the mana, but needs the Maelstrom in order to amplify the value of those heals. But at this point, you kind of just have to send it. Stun around the corner. It is going to be a knockback on that Ivan, which is perfect for Chicago. Lightning Lasso force and trick it out of Saikoro, and Chicago is still under a ton of threat. That's going to be the Burrow together with the what is it, the Spore Cloak does pick up a little bit of healing with Maelstrom, but still not out of the woods just yet. At this point, I don't really know what you can do. I think you need Maelstrom. You have to get in there. Maybe you use a stun. Sunder does not quite connect. Does himself quite a bit of damage. Then Chicago picking up a little bit of Maelstrom. Just a hair bit of Maelstrom. Sending out the Ghostos, which is going to end up helping out a ton, though. Stun onto the Shaman. Trinket to follow. Saikoro going for a Blade Dance. Bad. Oh, what was that? Just turned around. I didn't even notice the Ascendants, but turned around on the left field. Oh my goodness. So far, Chicago has just been going with a big old, not even a haymaker, just letting it sneak up on you and then landing those big crits. Mordecai sent in onto Chicago immediately. Diabolical sitting with a massive meatball of just fire cascading over toward Chicago. That is just a ton of damage. Chicago having to deal with a succubus as well. It's a lot of CC. Portals open right around the corner. Bonza fell. Not going to feel great unless you have someone right here. Can't move at all. Does drop down, I think, what looks like a grounding totem. Trying to see if he can remove some of those portals away. Boarded over to the side of the pillar. Actually, not the worst place to be in. Tried to drop down a totem onto Diabolicus. At least trapping him in place. Going for a big Sunder. but may need more Maelstrom right now. Wall has Guardian coming up very soon, but decided, you know what, I'm gonna bail out of here, catch up a little bit of healing. At least has the Guardian to attack. You should be using Guardian of your own as best as you can, though. Until Succubus, you see, I think it's over, right? Unless you somehow live in Chaos Mode, barely alive. Oh my goodness, Chicago almost brought it back for their team. Well done, well done. Oh my goodness, see, Mark is the last one left, though. Oh, I like the Mog. I do like the whole set. Sap and the Succubus does give you a little bit of an advantage there, doesn't it? Cheap shot onto Diabolical's going for back-to-back ambushes with an Adrenaline Rush, just kind of going for more of a slower play versus Diabolical's. We'll need to go for a next Kidney Shot. Honestly, may want to Kidney Shot the Succubus or gouge the Succubus. It does go for a Shadow Step on the Mortical if you're to follow Soulfire. Actually, line of sight maybe? Oh no, this is the stun. Does go for the Trinket. Shadow Meld. Oh, with a grapple hook right after. Still, even though you're able to avoid the big meatball coming at you with a Shadow Meld, you still, it looks like, got hit by an immolation either way, though, which is unfortunate. Which is going to put you just out in combat. You need to be very careful with Succubus. Immediately see on the Kidney Shot, which is super unfortunate. Try to use the mobility in order to close the gap. Go into a Cloak of Shadows just to maintain the pressure onto Diabolicals. Not let him go anywhere. Diabolicals does pick up a little bit of health, summoning up even more gateways to keep Seawork pressured as best as possible. Is going to swap out for a couple of ambushes onto the pet, trying to see if he can get himself a bit of damage. Freshly, Succubus is getting to join in for Diabolicals, so he's actually perfectly fine. He does have some defensive come back up as well. Seawork maybe can get a sap on the Succubus, looking for it, trying for it, doesn't get to. That is going to be Succubus with an Invis Blade Flare for just a second. Mortical immediately before he can even get anything set up on the Succubus Sphere right after. At this point, you got to make the choice. Do you chase after the Warlock or do you chase after the Succubus? Blind and the Succubus may be in a bad spot, trying to see if he can get some calm points off of it. Succubus may go for a Seduce. Might not be the great free evasion to follow. Mad damage by Diabolicals, though. I think that was just a straight Chaos Ball flying from a gateway. Does have evasion. Succubus stops here. I think it's over, right? Cheat death. Unless, maybe, oh my goodness, dude, the Destro versus Outlaw. That's Succubus's MVP. Seaver did pop in out of nowhere. 4 million healing, 3 million damage, almost like perfectly 3 million or 4 million. But the damage, though, out of left field, didn't get a single proc. Yeah, honestly, happens. Honestly, sometimes be like that. That's Outlaw, man. Sometimes you get really good buffs, and other times not really. A pistol shot, yeah. If you get a lot of them, that's a lot of calm points. You're just churning out, building, spending, and that helps a ton.